All right, guys, huge news. Meta just announced their partnership with Oakley for the next version of AI wearable technology. AI Oakley sunglasses. And guys, they are so sick. They are so dope. And today we've got to talk a little bit about what's cool, what's new about these sunglasses, but we also need to talk about the implications, both the financial market and where things are headed as far as market cap and the AI wearable tech, but also how these are going to change the way that we live everyday life. I mean, if you can't see it now, I'm going to just give you some ideas on A, what's possible now with these sunglasses, and B, where this stuff is going. We'll get into that in just a moment, but let's first just talk about a couple of the upgrades to this. So essentially what these are, they're sunglasses that are designed for athletics, for sports. They're going to be better in the water and sweaty type atmospheres. It records in 3K video, which is really sharp. I mean, if you're posting stuff to social media, like 3K is going to get you where you need to go. So you're going to get 3K. And one of the big upgrades I think here is that the battery life has been doubled. The previous Ray-Ban Meta AI glasses could only hold battery for about 4 hours. These new glasses hold an 8-hour charge. And you can fill up that battery, you can refill that battery, recharge that battery to 50% in 20 minutes. So highly functional, really sick. You know, it's going to have speakers so you can listen to music, talk. It has translation. We'll get into all the features here in just a moment. But I think it's important just to kind of understand how big the implications are to get where we at with this AI wearable technology and where it's going. Like, there's all these companies that have these like little wrist guards you can wear and rings that you can wear and stuff like that. But to me, glasses in general are where the AI technology is going to just really shine. And the fact that they were able to bring the battery life to 8 hours, double it over the last 2 years, is that's a big deal, guys. That's a big deal. Let's talk about it. As of today, in 2020, well, actually of last year, 2024, the AI wearable market was a $1.93 billion market. The forecast is for us to hit an $8.26 billion market by 2030. But I mean, who knows? Who knows? There's others that anticipate that the AR, VR wearables are going to hit up to $42 billion over the next 5 years. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, 2029, I mean, we could be looking at a $50 billion, $40 billion market cap for AI wearable technology. And the reality is that the functionality is as good as it potentially could be, especially for sports. Having these sunglasses, if they work the way that they could, the implications for sports are tremendous. I mean, you're going to be like a cyborg. It's going to be an unfair advantage. Honestly, they're probably going to get banned in certain leagues. We'll talk about why and how that might happen here again in just a moment, because like the use cases for these AI wearables is crazy. The other thing I think we should at least mention here is that Meta has been completely dominant in this field. And, you know, I had kind of an aha moment a few years ago when Facebook changed its name to Meta. And I was like, okay, there's something big here. They're really going in on AR, on VR, and then AI technology started to really pop off. And so I said, okay, well, now we've got AI mixed in, which is a perfect fit for these sunglasses. It's crazy. So up to date, the Ray-Ban Meta glasses have sold 2 million units. So that's in the past, essentially 2 years, a year and a half. They've sold over 2 million units. That's a lot. That's a lot of units. That's a lot of units, especially when they're selling for $400 a piece. They're making a lot of money. And you know, we'll get to this in just a moment. But in 2024, they sold over 1 million units. They have a production goal to sell 10 million units per year by 2026. That's this year, guys. Their goal is to sell 8 million units this year. In addition to what they bid. So to me, that's, and again, the battery life. Since the beginning of these wearables, Zuck has been saying that the batteries need to be better. The batteries need to be better. And if they've gotten to 8 hours, I mean, that's legit. That's legit. The biggest competitors in the marketplace right now are Google and Warby Parker, which honestly, I hadn't even heard of until I started doing more research on this. I mean, I know Warby Parker, I know Google, obviously, but I didn't know they were doing anything serious. Snap Specs has a project going. Apple is talking about it also. Apple's talking about releasing, but I don't know, guys. Apple hasn't really come out with anything that interesting except for a long time. Like Tim Cook is a good operator, but I do think that Apple maybe lacks the visionary of a Steve Jobs to actually be competitive. The problem that these companies have is they're prototyping and Meta is shipping millions of units. They're getting insane amounts of data. They're leveraging, I mean, the Apple AI is just not where it needs to be, but Meta has got Llama 3 open source. They've got Meta AI. I mean, they've got so much data from WhatsApp, from Facebook, from Instagram. They have so much data. They're going to be able to train their models so much faster, and they're implementing the hardware already. Again, the battery announcement of going from 4 hours to 8 hours over the course of a year and a half is just really, really stunning for me. So again, I think that this is not investment advice by any means, but what we're going to kind of continue to break down here in this video is that the AI wearable technology is super real. The vision is super real and very executable if the battery life is that effective. And just over the past few months, we've seen the multimodal capabilities of large language model platforms, AI tools, just be really good. You can submit a photo of something to ChatGPT. You can submit a video to ChatGPT, and it will really do a good job of contextualizing what it's saying, what's important, doing research, do all this stuff. So the ability to do that in real time is pretty profound, So again, we talked about what's new. It's 3K, which gives you ultra wide video capture, which is great, versus 1080p on the Ray-Ban. So the video quality is gonna be much better. Again, if you're like doing professional videography, you're probably gonna want 4K, but if you're doing action sports, if you're like, I don't know, on a skateboard following someone, like you got your skateboard, you got your video, you just say, hey Meta, record. That's cool too. It's got multimodal voice recognition. So you can say, hey Meta, record. Hey Meta, well, we'll get into some more implications here in a minute, but it can actually hear your voice, okay? And it can understand what you're asking it. We talked about the battery several times, which is a big deal. Oh, this is cool too. It actually has a charging case. So let's say you're out in the middle of the wilderness or something, you can have a charging case. The case itself can charge. So you don't actually need to plug it into an outlet, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. It's gonna have much more water resistance and the fast charging. So those are some of the main features. And it's my understanding that they will connect to it has built-in speakers as well, so you can listen to podcasts. It also has, again, voice recognition technology, so it can actually act as a translator. So if you're, a tourist, if you're, my wife is Polish, I go to Poland. Polish is a really hard language to understand. It's just very different from English, but, if I had a translator in my ear, I could actually have more conversations, I could say, hey, what is my mother-in-law saying about me? Always good things. So anyway, the translator built in is pretty cool. Being able to communicate more rapidly is great. So you can record, translate, it can answer questions. For example, maybe you get bit by a snake or something, like, hey Meta, is that a poisonous snake? Or you're out in the woods like I am right now and you see some berries. Hey Meta, can I eat this? Maybe you're even cooking. You say, hey Meta, is this steak done? For my wife, it's never done until it's well done. She's well done with ketchup. I'm very concerned we're going to get kicked out of a steakhouse at some point. It hasn't happened yet, but I do expect that it's going to be coming. Come on, guys. Steak has got to be medium rare. It's got to be medium rare. I want that hot beak center. All right, let's keep going. And again, so it's got a lot of shared DNA with the Ray-Bans, but it's more focused on movement and not fashion, which for me, I think is a better way to go. And with the fashion, typically you've got much more streamlined glasses. And I think that's part of why these are gonna be more successful, because these streamlined, there's no room to put batteries or speakers in these. There's no room. But if you had a nice chunky pair of Oakleys that are great for sports, they're a little more durable, you can fit in more tech. So I think that makes sense with what is available on the market right now. Real-time insights and performance stats. So this is where stuff gets crazy. Like, if you're a golfer, this is going to be mandatory. You're not going to have to pull out your rangefinder anymore. You're just going to open up your glasses. You're going to look at the pin, at the flag, and you're going to say, how far? How far am I from the pin? And it's going to be like 175 yards. I recommend your 7-iron, for example. That's going to be crazy. That's going to be so crazy. Hey Meta, What's the wind resist? What's the wind doing today? Oh, it's 12 miles per hour from northwest to blowing from the northwest. Boom, you know that. And I could even see it on a golf course, and I don't think this is there yet, but you could see it having this functionality where it could actually show you what the greens are doing. So maybe it's showing like red arrows pointing away from the pin or green arrows pointing towards the pin so you can better aim. It could announce hazards coming up. I mean, it's just gonna, and I'm saying all this, I don't even golf, but I could see just fundamentally changing the way that golf happens. You know, we talked about skateboarding, biking, extreme sports. I used to have a GoPro for this type of stuff. GoPro is a hassle. If I could just wear some sunglasses on my face and say record and then follow behind my buddy, that would be dope. Again, especially if you're able to just post it instantly to Instagram, or like, there's some lawn mowing going up there. But if I could say something like, hey Meta, stream this to Instagram live. Boom, done. That's just so cool. That's so cool. Again, just tons more interesting stuff. And the faster this technology gets, the more impactful it will get too, right? Pretty cool there. Sorry, this guy's like following me on this giant blower and he's creating all this noise. All right, what else do we got? Think about working out. You're in the gym. Hey Meta, what is on my gym routine today? Okay, next up, hey Mark, next up it's bench press. Okay Meta, I want to really push it today. What do you recommend? And it'll say this many sets of this many sets of that. Just again, all in your ear. The ability to have it all in your ear, hands-free, visual, super cool. Maybe you are watching yourself do a lift in the mirror and you say, hey Meta, how's my form? It says, oh, well, you need to put your shoulders back, keep your elbows in, that sort of thing. Maybe it says, oh, I suggest you lower your weights a little bit. Seems like you might be losing form because it's a little bit too tough. Maybe you're a surfer. You go out and you say, hey Meta, how are the waves looking today? Oh, watch out for this, watch out for that. Like once you start thinking about, the implications are truly endless. There's truly infinite uses for this, and we're going to see. To me, again, the big thing that really stands out at first is golf. Like the implications for golf and having it be really useful out there. Translations, really cool, and yeah, I've mentioned a few. So again, these are just like not just AR goggles. These are going to be mandatory, I think, in a lot of situations because of the functionality they give you. And you can get a pair for $400. There's a special edition, which is I think $500 or $600. But $400, you can get your own pair and start testing them out. I mean, I don't know exactly where the technology is just yet, but if they're durable, if they give you a long battery life, and you're starting to kind of use them, and this is kind of how it was for me when I started using ChatGPT. I used it once, and I was like, wow, I started brainstorming and thinking about all the different ways that I could use this tech, and now it's just infused itself into everything that I do. So it's really cool. Record workouts hands-free, getting live feedback, communicate and capture in motion. All these features are going to be just totally bananas. And you know, I think what's interesting here too is that this is not the same kind of outlook that they had before with the Ray-Bans and the fashion. This is a vertical expansion from fashion to sports and athletics, and that has me thinking, what's next? Maybe there's something in the professional world. You know, it's maybe where fashion isn't necessarily important, but you really want the functionality of quickly being able to write code, assess data, charts, graphs, faster. Everything needs to be faster. How do we get the inputs into our system faster? As a human, you know, let's think about this for a moment, okay? As a human being in the workplace, what are you doing? You're processing information using your ears and your eyes, and you're inputting that information into your human brain, which God gave us and which is amazing, but it has limitations. There's things that computers do that we can't do is with our God-given human brains. But you take in this data, and then you typically are going to input it into a spreadsheet, or you're going to go to ChatGPT or go to Google, and you're going to ask these questions. Well, what if you could bypass all of that? What if your glasses knew what you were doing? Hey Meta, I'm going to sit down here to read some spreadsheets and some graphs and some data for the next hour. I want you to read it, interpret it, and database it all. Or here's another thing. How often, maybe you go into a sales meeting or a client meeting with someone and you're like, oh, what did Jim say? I don't remember. This is honestly, I almost only do Zoom calls now because I have a Zoom AI note taker that takes all my notes and comes up with key takeaways and stuff. I don't like doing phone calls. I don't even like barely even doing in-person stuff. I mean, I do like it, but I do like in-person stuff. But this is one of the limitations I have there, is that there's stuff that gets lost. There's stuff like, what did Jim say? I know he said something important, but I can't exactly remember it. Well, now you're gonna have glasses that can follow you into the professional world. You know, another thing they could do is like, you know, teleprompters are great. You know, it's, you know, when I'm sitting in front of my computer at home, my desktop at home, I can have a teleprompter that kind of walks me through. What do you say? What do you do? What's next on the agenda? So like even just doing these videos, what if I had a little teleprompter in the bottom left hand of my glasses which said, okay, this is the next point you need to hit, this is the next point you need to hit, and it followed along. Like that would be really useful to me on a professional standpoint. So we started fashion, we're moving into athletics with the AI Oakley sunglasses, but what's next? Does it go into the professional landscape? Where does it go next? The implications are just so tremendous. You know, I'm just brainstorming and using my imagination here. Super, super cool. And you know, I think that one of the things that's important here that Meta's doing, and I've kind of alluded to it a moment ago, is that they are becoming the industry standard in this type of technology. You know, Apple has made some really cool products over the years. The iPhone was transformative. The iPod was really transformed in a lot of ways. But they're really falling behind on these glasses, because like there may be a future where we don't even really use smartphones anymore because it's just easier to have glasses. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't know. But I can see the vision with what's going on. And not to mention, we didn't even get into this, is augmented reality. You know, the more people that are wearing these, the more opportunities there are to get more information. So I'm just walking here through a park near my house, but what if I was walking around, there were different augmented reality setup points? I mean, we could talk about advertising like billboards and buy this or buy that. I wouldn't really like that, but what if I was walking around and I just saw like little landmarks, memorabilia, interesting facts? You know, maybe you're walking around a museum and like I'm walking around DC or something, and I'm walking up to Washington Monument and it's saying like, oh, here's where this happened, here's where that happened. I think that would be pretty cool. So augmented reality is a big deal, not to mention games. You know, I like to play Pokemon Go with my son sometimes, not all the time, because I think it distracts from the real life in the moment type of stuff. But Pokemon Go is really cool. I can walk around, I can catch Pokemon. And they're just like, if I was walking around right now with my glasses on, I'm seeing like little Pokemon pop up. I can catch this, I can catch that. There's even games now that they'll pay you cash for doing this. I don't know how much money you could possibly make walking around in an AR world, but AR is going to be huge too. So what is this? Where does this bring us? Is it still a good time to invest in Meta? Is it saturated? What kind of technology needs to happen? I will say this, and I'll probably record an entire video on this, but energy is so important. We need battery technology. We need cheaper energy. We need ways to cool the GPUs. They're saying these large warehouses. I don't want to get too into this in this video, but what I did want to do is highlight what Meta is doing with these new glasses, why they're important, where the market's going, and try to help you envision, because at the end of the day, envision where the world is going. Because at the end of the day, I talked about this a couple videos ago. When I think about ways to create more wealth, to create a bigger impact, to generate more income and freedom for my family, I'm thinking about what are the technologies that are out there on the market right now that are changing the world, and how can I surf those waves? I want to surf the AI wave. I want to surf the meta virtual reality wave. I want to surf AI wearables. And what are these implications? I mentioned a number of them today, but if you're thinking along these lines, guys, you know, you might be wrong 10 times. I've started several businesses, some of which have been moderately successful, some which have not, and I had to ditch, and some of which I think have immense promise and I'm working towards. But where AI is putting us at today is that the cost of startup is like a tenth of what it used to be. And your ability to move fast and break things and build things there's never been a time like it. So at any rate, love the glasses. I think it's super slick. Very excited for what they're going to do. Probably will pick up a pair, maybe wait to see reviews. But I definitely wanted to hop on here, chat with all my homies to just let you know this is a big deal and don't sleep on it. All right, if you like the video, smash like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll catch you next one.